prefers paper handout, paper agendas? Who prefers paper agendas?
I did.
And I heard that there were some weather advisories down like and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that doesn't seem possible.
This girl was
I don't know, that was really so
No, it's not mine.
I think it's mine. I think it's mine.
We took our vote on it.
boys still alive living in Stockton.
are these
Whoops.
no, not if she has to go to John's house.
Call the meeting to order. Rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call.
Kramer?
Here.
Webb here, Ridley?
Here.
Lazovic? Here. Vance?
Here.
Okay. Minutes of the October 5th meeting. There are 2 meetings to cover.
I have a motion.
Okay.
The proposed minutes say Kramer made a motion to use the flow chart to finalize hiring policy and send questions, concerns to Mike Don by Monday 10/11 so he can pass to legal counsel to finalize hiring policy draft for review next month, supported by Philosophic. Motion carried. Correction, Kramer made a motion to send Vance's last draft of hiring policy, the organization chart, and questions and concerns to the lawyer with comments due to Mike Ridley by Monday, supported by Philosophic. Motion carried.
So you're saying the same thing, basically.
I can't hear you, Dawn.
Can't hear you. It said that you're saying the same thing. So,
I'm not. But
How is
Well,
it
you're
different, Bob?
rewording
Because I've
it.
been reading that transcript.
Vance's last draft is key to my motion. The words Vance's last draft
okay.
needs to be in there. Now, I have a complete transcript if you like them.
No, I record the minutes and I listened to it, and yeah, you did say Vance's last draft.
Okay.
So I can put last draft.
Excuse me, also, it said that use the flow chart to finalize the hiring policy. That's not what he said. He said send it with, the flow chart with the hiring policy. Not to
Yes.
finalize the hiring.
Yeah, I see that in here.
Second paragraph,
Oh,
of the hiring policy, where it says flow chart to finalize the hiring policy. He did not say finalize hiring policy, he said to send it with the hiring
Yeah, I got it right here and I'll pass it to the clerk.
Okay, guys, okay, we're getting a little carried away here. So this is the MTA's course that they offer on taking minutes. We're not supposed to do verbatim. We're supposed to capture the essence of what's being said. If you'll recall, at the end of his original motion, he asked Bobby what she thought. My job is to make sure that I'm trying to capture the essence of everything everybody's saying.
Yeah, we got that, but my
So-
motion is for this correction.
Your motion is for that correction. I can add last.
No,
The words.
my motion is, this is what it's supposed to say, word for word.
Okay.
I'll read it again. Kramer made a motion to send Vance's last draft of hiring policy, the organization chart in question and concerns to the lawyer, with comments due to Mike Ridley by Monday, supported by Philosophic, motion carried.
Okay.
It's in the transcript, that very wording twice.
Yep. So, again, it's not supposed to be verbatim. We're supposed to document, all it has to do is document the action taken. That's what it says in here. That's what the
My
court's-
motion says what I read.
Okay. So
Period.
it's the same thing.
No changes. If this motion carries, that correction has to be in the minutes, exactly as I wrote it.
All right, fine. It doesn't.
And
it
if there's
doesn't
any
matter.
questions, I'm more than happy to give you the,
It's fine. I have the transcript.
I'm
I'll make
talking
the
to
change.
everybody,
Can I read it?
talking to the entire board.
It's hard to listen.
And I can play the video and you can follow along if you like. Sorry.
I have one. It's okay. I don't know. The only problem with paraphrasing and trying to get the essence of the motion is that one word can make or break a motion of the meaning. So it's very important that we get the meaning established. And I think that,
Well,
the meaning was changed.
excuse me, let's be clear here. I'm not complaining about the effort. I'm just trying to make, so the meaning, so the meaning is there. That's all I'm saying. You know, I understand about paraphrasing. I'm just concerned that the proposed minutes does not say what I intended to say.
So there's two words. Finalize shouldn't be in there. We're not finalizing anything.
The correction should be,
Are we finalizing anything?
That's where I'm concerned, because that now I don't know what, if we word it that way, I don't know what the intent of sending it to the attorney was. So, that's my concern.
We're wording it with the word finalizing. You said that wasn't in there?
No,
no,
Bob doesn't want it.
nowhere in this transcript is the word finalize.
Okay, and the other word is that you said you want advances.
My motion said, take
Your
the last draft at the beginning, and then I said, also the last draft.
Okay,
So what was gonna happen though? I think there had to be an outcome to the motion of, and I'm concerned that there's not an outcome to the motion in that direction.
So when you said finalized, when you said you didn't say finalized, you said craft it legally for us to get it done. Finalize is less words saying the same thing.
Okay, that's fine. All I'm saying, this is my motion for the correction, word for word.
So let's get back to what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to document the action. The action is, we're gonna send the draft, the last draft, I'll be happy to put the last draft in there. We're gonna send the last draft along with the flow chart, the org chart, and our questions, concerns, and comments to the lawyer. To have him review, come up with a final draft for us to look at. Is that right?
That's Bob, you made the motion.
Is that right?
I don't even think we said final. Did we? I think it was just,
Get the lawyer's
we
approval.
wanted a document once again. We already had a document once from Rosemary.
Yeah.
That was one page, right? So now we want to do the same thing again, I guess, where we get something back blessed by the lawyer, so to speak, with them pointing out the good, the bad, what should be there, what shouldn't be there. And then we have a basis for discussion at our special meeting on whenever we're gonna have it.
So your correction is, this is, Kramer made a motion to send Vance's last draft of hiring policy, the organization chart and questions and concerns to the lawyer with comments due to Mike Ridley by Monday, supported by Belazovic. Motion carried. That's your,
That's my correction.
okay?
And what I said was Kramer made a motion to use the flow chart to finalize hiring policy and send questions, concerns to Mike John by Monday, 10/11, so he can pass it to legal counsel, finalize the hiring policy draft for review next month, support by Blazovic. The actions are the same.
No, they're
So-
not,
Well, it's
because
fine,
it does not include Vance's last draft, that's important. That's my motion, I'm done. That's my motion, I'm done.
Okay. There's a motion, is there support?
I support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Roll call, please.
Roll call?
Kramer,
Yes.
no. Ridley,
No.
Blazovic, no. Vance,
Vance?
Oh, yes, you had to speak up, Dawn.
oh, sorry.
Okay. Special meeting.
No, point of order, I have a right to read my objections into the minutes, and I wish to do that now, Mr. Supervisor.
You may read your objection into the minutes.
I made a motion, it was very, very clear. I've heard stuff that, well, we didn't understand. Well, you know what, it was 5-0. So if you didn't understand, that's not on me, that's on you. It's very clear to me what I said. And I don't like my words twisted or changed or my intent changed because we're having a fight over the hiring policy. It's not right. So welcome to fantasy football and welcome to rewriting history. Thank you.
Would you like to, read your proposed correction into the minutes, Bob?
Correction, Kramer made a motion to send Vance's last draft of hiring policy, the organization chart, and questions and concerns to the lawyer with comments due to Mike Ridley by Monday, supported by Belazovic. Motion carried.
Thank you, Bob. Minutes of the October 26th special meeting.
I'd like to make, just a comment, it doesn't warrant discussion. One of the reasons why, it was stated in, one of the reasons why it was stated that they didn't have to, notify Bob and myself about, reissuing the, advertisement for the office assistant is because it was already an existing job and they were just filling it. But according to the December 3rd, 2020 minutes, office administrator pay and hiring of an office assistant to assist with residents with day-to-day tasks. Belazovic made a motion for office administrator post for office assistant and revisit in 3 months. Motion carried, all in favor. We never revisited that position. It was not really a permanent position because we never revisited it. That's my comment. So Bob was right, that's all.
Minutes of the 26th meeting.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
For support? Don supports. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, adopt the agenda. We have a few things to. Where's my mouse?
I saw it, when
I was so ready to do this right.
Mike, did you guys just make a motion to adopt the October 5th minutes or not?
Yes.
You rejected the amendment.
Right.
I don't
But you
like-
didn't vote on the minutes.
Did we?
Yeah, because Bob asked for roll call.
That was
For-
on his amendment,
That was on his amendment.
and then it went to October 26th. I think the
Okay, I
problem,
thought we had,
yeah, I didn't hear it.
okay.
So
is
I
there-
need another motion.
Okay, a motion to adopt the October, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, a motion to adopt the October 5th minutes as written.
Roll call, please.
Okay, who's making, somebody, I am, who's making the motion?
Oh.
Dawn is? Is there support? I will support that, roll call?
Kramer?
No.
Ridley?
Yes.
Yes.
Speak up.
Vance?
No.
Sit.
Folks, I apologize for the system here. Last week we thought it was these minutes, but I think we got a ghost in the amplifier mic.
Okay,
We'll try and fix that.
number 5, adopt agenda. And I'd like to add 2 things. Discussion, 17 would be discussion of the office assistant hours and pay. We said we would do that at the last meeting. And I'd like to schedule a workshop for Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to discuss the hiring policy. A workshop. Is there more additions to the agenda?
I just have a question for clarification. A workshop is also, it's a special meeting,
It's a
correct?
special meeting, but it'll be a workshop.
Yeah, bear with me, I'm still learning. Okay.
Okay.
You said, what time did you say?
9 a.m. Saturday. Any amendments to the, additions to the agenda? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there support?
I'll support.
Don supports, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public comment on agenda items?
I'm Carol Friesmuth.
Oh, Carol, please come up to the, would you come up to the,
Sure. If you push the bright buttons for me.
There's only one button, you can't miss it.
Oh, yeah, well, apparently.
Hi, I'm Carol Friesmuth. And I've been coming to these meetings for the past few months, and as I look around the room, I see pretty much the same 2 or 3 people that are always negative, vocal, sometimes rude at every one of these meetings. So I want to start the meeting with the notion of, I actually support this board. I believe that they believe in progress and positive community projects. They don't have personal vendettas,
point of order? This has to be on our agenda items,
okay?
and is this on the agenda? This is not, I appreciate your sentiment, I don't see,
Okay,
is there
I'll-
something on the agenda?
I'll speak up at the end of the meeting then.
Okay,
Thank
fine.
you.
Thank you very much. Okay, agenda items, there's a public, yes, Scott, go ahead.
This is still on?
Yes, it is.
I'm Scott Swanson, and the editor of the paper.
You're too tall.
I've had an ongoing FOIA dispute with the board. I think many of you are familiar with that. We do have a letter from the Michigan Press Association attorney who is representing us, and I just want to read excerpts of that. And the reason I do this is not to aggravate the situation, but I think some people have some misconceptions about what our intent is and what the law is, and I hope this clears up some of them. This is from our attorney, who is Robin Luce Herman. She's been involved with MPA things, and FOIA things for decades. Anyways, it says the information requested is in regard to a proposed public project carrying an estimated price tag in excess of $13 million and involving not only the township board, but a congressman, 2 U.S. senators, and at least 1 federal agency and a regional agency. For several months, the resorter has attempted to address these issues with the township to no avail. The previous 2 clerks emailed the requested information. At that time, we were doing it for every month because that worked better for them. Requested information on a monthly basis at no cost. This approach not only complied with FOIA and the township's policies, it complied with the township's pledge to the community to be transparent about the sewer project. Since Ms. Webb was appointed clerk, that approach changed. While previously no charges were imposed, not only are charges now imposed, they're wholly disproportional to the request made, the documents provided. Ms. Webb seems to be under the impression, and it's been supported by 3 members of the board, so I don't want to just lump it on her, that because FOIA sets out in detail the costs that may be charged, the public body is automatically entitled to charge for any and all requests. This is not the law. Nor is it the law that a public body may charge fees in responding to FOIA requests because it, quote, takes time away from our regular duties. As a precondition to charging for each individual FOIA request, the public body is required to establish and identify in the particular instance that not charging a fee would result in unreasonably high cost. That's from MCL 15.234, C3. The township here has consistently failed to meet this statutory requirement. We submit that it is because the township cannot do so. Indeed, the township has admitted as much given its prior history of not charging for this information. The prior history establishes that the costs incurred by the township are not excessive and unreasonably high. It should not take 86 minutes or 45 minutes or even 35 minutes to locate responsive emails for a one-week time frame on a particular topic. A keyword search would yield results in seconds. Information is guaranteed under state law. Public bodies are treated differently than private corporations. The former are accountable to the taxpaying public, who have already paid to have these documents created and maintained. And this is Robin's comment. In many townships simply provide the information without the necessity of a FOIA request. My own 30-odd years of experience with FOIA demonstrates both that these requests are not extraordinary, and that what is extraordinary here is the hostility displayed to those seeking public information. We urge the township to re-examine its practices, return to its prior transparency, accountability, and to reject the recent efforts to prevent the release of public information. We look forward to a resolution that will avoid the need for additional formal action. Basically what that says, and I want you to understand, the law indicates that in certain dramatic requests you can charge, but for common things that aren't that, you're not supposed to be doing that. That's the bottom line.
Thank you. Public comment? Okay. Closed public comment on agenda items. Correspondence. And the only bit I have is from Marcia Rushlow, who is the, excuse me. There we go. Marcia Rushlow, who is on the 911 board, and I talked to Gordon about this briefly, is that, is there anybody that would like to sit on the 911 board? They meet third Wednesday of every month at 3 p.m. in Emmett County. The reason why I bring that up, and I talked, like I said, I talked to Gordon and I did talk to Marcia. There seems to be a big fiasco with the software, what we're getting, and they're reducing the number of representatives from Sheboygan County from, I think there were 3. There was a county commissioner, there was a township supervisor, and there was a village, or I think Sheboygan had a representative, the city did, and now they're down to 1. And just if there's anybody's interested, give me the contact information to Marshall.
It's wrong.
What's that?
We still have 3. Sheboygan County has 3.
Who do we have?
They used to have a county commissioner, a village, or a township
Yep.
person, and a village/city person.
Right.
They still have 3, but they're going to have 2 commissioners, and only 1 is going to be either village.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're right.
So
I
they
did
still
get
got
that.
3. It's a
That's
9-member
smart.
board.
Yeah, it's, they've combined, the village and,
Yes.
okay, thank you, yeah, that's correct. But anyway, if anybody's interested in digging into the 911 board, seems like a lot of, Gordon said it's a software problem, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes, we've had major issues with the software.
Okay. That's correspondence. Treasurer's report, Bobby?
Tax accounts, $13,686.22. General accounts, $2,386,408.07. Both of those figures are with interest.
Thank you, Bobby.
And we need to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills?
Bob, did you wanna do a budget adjustment you were asking about?
I'll let Don handle that.
Yes,
Do we do have to do
The
that right
no, you're talking budget adjustment for what? For,
Well, it was gonna be,
for the clerk? Or
for the
deputy clerk?
Maybe we should cover that under 15.
I think that's what we're gonna revisit that.
Yeah, we'll get them, okay.
I will say that I
John,
would,
could you just touch that touchpad right there? Bring that back up. I'm sorry. There you go. Thank you, John.
Touchpad.
There you go. Thank you. We'll bring that up, on the, number 15.
so I would, as far as the bills go, I would like to start see, who gets paid what payroll-wise, gross pay. I don't wanna see any PII, just a name and an amount. Because that's technically a bill, I mean, it's an obligation, it's a transaction, I'd like to start seeing that starting December.
Is there a motion to pay the bills?
I make that
Now
motion.
Bob makes that motion. Is there support?
Wait, I have one thing that I need to add into the bills before we do that. I did not, invoice this because, we've not ever done it in the past, so we got an invoice from the Chamber of Commerce for membership. The police did as well, and so did the library, both of them approved it. So before I invoice for it, I wanted to, ask for approval.
How much is it?
It's $100.
$100 to join the chamber?
Have we done it in the past?
No, we have not, so.
The
that's why I
DDA is,
wanted
DDA has, their members.
So we've never done it in the past.
to- No, not the township.
With our negative projected budget, I say we let it go. I would, unless somebody makes a motion.
Anybody wanna make a motion?
Is there support to join the chamber? Is there support? Or I should say a motion to join the chamber, because that has died for the lack of support. Okay, reports, I'm sorry, police report. Gordon?
We need to
We
finish
have to
that.
finish.
We already did, sorry, you're right.
We need a second
That's it. Who,
on paying the bills. Bob made the motion.
okay, and the second is, support is? Somebody here support?
I'll support it.
Jan supports, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Jan, for bringing that up. Police report, Gordon?
So the month of October for us was fairly slow. We did get our grant approved for the snowmobile grant for the 2021-22 snowmobile year. We got $3,000 this year, which averages about 200 hours of snowmobile patrol through the state of Michigan. The other thing is my administrative assistant, after 25 years of service, has decided to retire.
Oh, no,
Oh,
no. When?
Very, very sad about that.
When?
She's going to be virtually irreplaceable. Worked here for 25 years. She's probably one of the most organized people I know. But her last day was going to be February 1st. So it's good for her. She's worked very hard for it, but it's very sad for me, and I hate to see her go. But,
I hope you'll pass on our congratulations.
Are you gonna have a party for it?
yeah, we're working on something.
Okay.
Other than that, that's all I have to report this month.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
On that snowmobile grant, is that the average amount you get, or is it more or less?
You know, every year it seems to get reduced a little bit. I did get $3,000 last year. Prior to that was $4,000.
Okay.
So it is dropping a little bit every couple of years, but at one point in time I was down to $1,600, and I said, you know what, then I'm gonna not do it this year, and then they turned around and gave me $4,000. So just gotta kind of play the system. That's right.
I have any change in, getting a car?
No.
Oh, boy. Okay, thank you.
And cars are averaging about 155,000 miles on every one of them right now.
I know.
So our maintenance bills are starting to climb, unfortunately.
Can we lease?
And they're still saying April or May.
Can we lease?
I think
Not
that
that
would
kind of
be a good
mileage.
deal for us.
Temporarily?
Might need those snowmobiles to tow around the police cars, you know?
Well, we might be driving them snowmobiles.
Oh, you got a new one.
This is true.
Thank you, Chief. Reports, DDA, is there anybody besides me here from the DDA? We had a meeting last night. I nothing jumps out at me other than we had a bill from, we settled with OHM, for the last bill. They had one more bill for us over $7,000 and we settled for 50% of that. We were dissatisfied with a small portion of their work, so.
And what did they, were responsible for?
$3,500.
Yeah, but what job did they do?
Their streetscape.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the concrete work,
Oh,
that
the
was in front, it was field fit, it was poorly done, it's a puddling, and we're working on getting a bid to replace that, tear it up and replace it.
Thank you.
Okay, I can't think if there was, Doug, do you recall if there was anything else?
No.
Okay. Can't either. Okay, Parks Commission, they're, pleased to have Jennifer Andrew with us, longtime Park Commission member and chairman, chairperson.
Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to thank our board. We have a fantastic Parks Commission board. They volunteer their times, they put a lot of hours in, and truly every single one of us, we're there for the kids. First and foremost, we're here for our community, but we just want to make this place better for the kids of this community. Pat and Jane McGinnis, I want to thank you guys for, they made a map, I put a copy on each one of your desks. It's amazing what a beautiful park we have at Cooperation Park. It is amazing to me how many people don't know anything about Cooperation Park. How many people say to me, oh, there's a park back there? And so they put this map together, which we're going to put on our website and display in other areas of the community, just to promote our park, because we do have a beautiful park. We have a lot going on back there. We have walking trails, we have soccer fields, tennis courts, an ice skating rink, ball fields. You know, it's just a beautiful park. So this is a great addition. I want to thank Pat and Jane for doing this for us very much.
Very nice.
So the two things we've been working on, or the big projects, are our 5-year plan and working on making revenue for the parks. Every 5 years, we have to make up a recreation plan through the state. And the reason we have to do this is so, it has a lot of information about our community, but we do this so we have to have this if we want to apply for grants. So since we've had our parks and we've been getting grants, we've received just in our community with pretty much, just here in Indian River, $2,445,100 in grants, which is pretty phenomenal. So every 5 years, which it seems like it rolls around every 1 year, but we have to put this together, and NEMCOG helps us. So right now we have a contract, our Parks Commission approved a contract with NEMCOG for $3,100. Our original contract was for $4,200. And so by the Parks Commission board doing a lot of the jobs, we whittled it down to $3,100 to have this done. And probably what we'll do is if you have any interest, we'll have in a couple weeks, we'll post a meeting for public comment. If anybody has any suggestions or comments about our 5-year plan, which you can find on the website. We'd love your input. We'll have a public meeting, and then, the process will continue. We'll get everything together we get done as a Parks Commission, and then we'll bring it to the board, and then the board will approve it also. So that's what we're working on. And then secondly, as far as revenue, it's been quite something we've been discussing for about 15 years of how can we make money in the parks. Again, we don't want little Johnny that's coming from across the street to have to pay to be in our parks. It's really important to us. I see the struggles being involved in Little League through all the years of how difficult it is for these families to pay $25 to, play sports. So, we're in the process of working on a couple of different ways of making revenue. First off, we're going to start off with a donation box at Cooperation Park Ice Rink. And we're going to put a sign up, say, to keep this open, we need your help in some kind of a nicer way. And so we're going to put a donation box up. We're also going to rent You know, you can put, your business name up on the boards of the ice rink, so we'll be selling those soon. This is our vision, we're hoping to do. And also sell, boards for the ball fields. So businesses can buy boards for those, and they'll rent them, and then they can re-rent them for a cost. Doug came up with a fantastic idea of raffling off the end of the pier for the 4th of July and for the boat races. You know, you maybe get 16 tickets to be at the end of the pier. So, those are some ideas. The big one is, of course, what we'd like to do is hire a rec director who can, promote softball, baseball tournaments, and camps, tennis camps, basketball camps, soccer camps, or just summer children's camps. I mean, the revenue, I mean, what we could make with that would be amazing, and we gotta figure out how we can make that happen, you know, hiring a rec director, whether it's commission or, you know, how we can afford to do that. So those are just a few ways, we're working on revenue at this time. So that's pretty much what we're doing. We've had a few, snags along the way with our new ball field, but a lot of people in the community have helped to build that new ball field, and it should be done in the spring. Just you know, it's pretty much all done. We just have very few things to do. We gotta get the scoreboard up. We've been waiting on poles. You know, it's just difficult to get supplies right now, and it's difficult to get people to do the work. So I think everybody's feeling that, but it's really exciting. So next year that will be in play for sure. So that's all I have to report. Anybody have any questions? Yes, Bob.
I attended your last meeting, although you didn't have a quorum, you had a good discussion. And I just wanted to thank the entire Parks Commission because there were a lot of good ideas. You know, the parking pass thing that we've talked about before, and the Little League pass where you let those families in that can least afford it, basically at cost with a different color pass. And then I heard all the comments about, you know, the hockey games and the tournaments, and it was just great. So I hope you'll thank
Thank you.
all the commissioners for that. And I also want to support that 5-year plan, because without that 5-year plan, we would not have these new docks down here.
That's exactly right.
That put us right over the top, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Now, our taxes paid for Cooperation Park and everything else, right? The
Absolutely.
township taxes.
Absolutely.
Right, okay. But we have non-residents use our park. I know over the years we've talked about having a permit for non-residents paid. That would bring income in. I mean, we're all paying for other people from Traverse City or Petoskey. I've been there a few times, I see license plates from different places, and we're paying for them to use our park. I know the Little Leagues have, I would suggest that maybe the residents in the Little Leagues don't have to pay anything, but the non-residents on those teams have to pay. I mean, I know that I've talked to Jim Burke and I've talked to Mike over the years. It's been a subject that, you know, a lot of the people in this township feel we're paying for the park, the township people are, but yet people from outside our township use it.
Yeah, and that is definitely a loaded question that's been going around for 16 years, as long as I've been around. And I agree with you. We've discussed this parking pass where, like, if you pay taxes, you know, you get 2 passes in your tax and you put them on your cars, and, you know, and again, we have to rely on the police department to patrol this. And there's so many, you know, like, you know, the kids that, you know, you're looking at people that live in Indian River that don't live in Tuscarora Township. So again, you know, we've been discussing this for a long time. We're trying to figure out what the right answer is. There's so many dynamics to it, but that's definitely on our radar. And I should have said that because we are discussing the parking pass too, but it's just, how do you do it, you know, without alienating a group of people? And we thrive on tourism here, and we promote people coming in. We have a lot of people that come and use our park, so we are working on that. If anybody has the right answer, please let me know. Any input, we would love it, because I honestly, my head spins about this subject. I don't know what the right answer is. I mean, we want to do what's best for everybody, so. But thank you for your input. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
It's okay, I just wanted to address what you said. I wrote a letter to every Parks Commissioner a few months ago saying everybody in this township who owns property or a voter or a renter bring in their, you know, their auto registration and their driver's license and the tax bill or proof that they live there, you get a free sticker. If you're from outside, ask Pat and Gary's 1 and 2 and Ken's, sell the passes, $25 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And give them a piece of the action, like $2.50 or $1, whatever, just to make it worth their while. And I think you'll raise a lot of revenue, especially with all these turnaround, with all these VRBO, Airbnb people that show up for a weekend. Hey, $25, give me the money, show me the money.
Well, I know, we got one of the best parks in the area. I mean, you guys do a great job with it.
We do.
And people are coming from all over to use it, and it's coming out of our taxes. I see the budget on I see my tax bill and how much I'm paying for it.
Well, right now, parks take up 38% of the general fund revenue. And this is a brave, in my opinion, this is a brave thing.
But I believe that's
I
all,
know, I do.
that includes all the township staff, the park, you know,
Well,
it's
I
not
know,
just
I'm
the
not
park,
saying
so,
that
yeah.
we always seem to be real tight on the parks budgets too, and this
Yes.
would help out
It would
somewhat.
be
And
nice.
having the police, you know, patrol it, I mean, most people would be honest enough that would get the get the sticker, and I would think the people in this township would police it themselves too, and say, hey,
Plus,
I'm paying for this thing.
Exactly, especially if you have the correct signs.
Yeah,
Because Doug was talking about that, and I thought that was a great idea.
that's good that we're still talking about it.
I mean, I think even, you know, you think of the honor system, you get 50%, that's still 50%.
Yeah, I know,
they
that's
have,
what
you
I'm
know,
saying.
I don't think we'd be hardcore, we talked about warnings and, you know, like I said, it's, you know, you have a game going on and you have grandma who comes in who doesn't have a pass and they're just coming to watch you know, there's just so many
Yeah, I
scenarios that can
understand.
happen.
It's
So
not an easy thing to sort out, so at least it's out there still.
it's out there, for sure. But like I said, any input, we would love to hear it because I know there's a lot of communities that have these, you know, we don't have anybody that, what makes us different is we don't have somebody there that's gonna collect the money. You know, we don't have an employee that can do that, and so.
I like Bob's idea, it's like the fishing
Yeah.
license, you know, go to Pat
And then-
Gary's or something.
And then I just, you know, then it puts more on the police too, and they're kind of in charge of it, so. Anyway, it is on the agenda too, and we were looking at that. So I was kind of talking about immediate things, and we'll try to get all the kinks out of that one, so. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Planning Commission, Chairman Shervany. Oh, you're not gonna get applause for that.
Oh, yeah, he might.
Come to think of it, yeah. Nothing to report.
I got some information tonight, email, I'll wait till I check it out before I say anything about it. Somebody's asking to change the zoning over here across from Portland Sports. I'm gonna find out about it
Yeah.
before we go any farther, but
Yeah.
it may not be anything, so.
Okay. Library. Yep, sure.
Geez, I should have stood up there. I feel bad now.
Okay, I'm kind of short. Okay, so for the library, we just finished up our Spooktober week last week, and that was really fun, and we appreciate everyone who came in, especially those with costumes, although I definitely know there's no kids here, so it's probably not you guys, but. Our theme for November is home. So in the spirit of home, we are starting a new service for our homebound patrons. So we're doing a homebound delivery service for Tuscarora Township patrons who are unable to come into the library. And you can learn more and register yourself or somebody you know who is unable to come to the library. But to end, you can start receiving those requested materials from our collection delivered right to your door by volunteers from the Friends. Thank you to the Friends. And yeah, we have paper copies at the library to pick up if you want to take them to the people you know, and then we also offer on our website. That's where you can find the forms. Books for Bulldogs will be back, and that's held next Tuesday, November 16th, so 2 Tuesdays from now, 6 to 7 p.m. There's a craft at 6 p.m., and then Inland Lakes Elementary School Principal Peralt will read a story or two starting at 6:30. So we had a really good turnout last time, and I think it'll be really great again. And also, the library is now providing Hoopla. So this is a new digital e-resource to everyone who either resides or works at a business in Tuscarora Township, So it's special for Tuscarora. You can check out 4 items a month from this extensive collection of books, movies, music, and more with your library card. So this November, Hoopla is also offering over 400 titles called bonus borrows. And with bonus borrows, you can check out as many of those as you want, and it doesn't count against your 4 items. So you can still check out 4 more items on top of that. So just something fun for the holidays. You can learn more about that service on our website, IndianRiverLibrary.org, and other news and updates from the library. And you can always come in and we can help you kind of learn about it and figure out how to use it. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, FOIA report, Dawn?
FOIA report, we had 21 new FOIAs come in. We sent responses out. It's dead.
Is it?
Yeah. We sent responses out for 2 of the 21. The rest of them, there were no documents for. I do want to just set the record straight a little bit. Scott, you mentioned that this all started, the request for payment started with me, and that's incorrect. It is for you, but Dolly had started that policy prior to leaving. So there were a couple of FOIAs that went out prior to my taking office with requests for payment. Okay, and that's
That's
for
it.
the FOIA.
Okay, Robert, the sewer report?
To try and save some time here, because we got some breaking news, I sent every trustee the sewer report as I had it a day or 2 ago.
Speak up.
I sent, whoops, sorry. I sent out the sewer board report to each board member a couple of days ago. So I have some addendums that just happened in the past day or so. Part of this we'll talk about later, because Mike's got it on the agenda. But you may recall, folks, that we talked about 25,000 gallon tank, surge tank or equalization tank, using COVID money for about $50,000, which was suggested to us by Performance Engineering. So Mike, as we directed him, went out to meet and hunt, and we have it back. And instead of $50,000 and 25,000 gallon tank, they want us to have a 150,000 gallon tank at a cost of, are you sitting down? $794,000. So I guess we'll be discussing that. And then we have had some congressional action or lack thereof. And Mr. Supervisor, with your permission, I would like to read Anna Schwab's email
Go ahead.
directly.
Go ahead.
Okay. Dear Bob and Board, I wanted to let you know the Senate Appropriations Committee has released the text of their Interior and Environmental Bill, which includes the congressionally directed spending request. We know that as earmarks. The Senate committee is putting forward. Unfortunately, the township's request put forward by both Senator Stabenow at $14.88 million and Senator Peters, $2 million, was not selected by the committee to move forward. The good news is that the request Congressman Bergman put forward passed the House of Representatives and is part of the negotiations the chamber will have to undertake on the final bill, which is usually known as a conference. It has been said by some members that those incorporated in the House bill are still very likely to be signed into law too. I will continue to monitor and update you as the process advances. Please let me know if you have any questions. Very best, Anna. So I wanted to thank her for that. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, Women's Club, the barrels, roll out the barrel. I guess they aren't, really can't call them barrels, can you?
No, we'll call them flower pots, maybe. The new flower pots are sitting up front here.
Yes.
The Women's Club purchased them and
Is this too heavy to pick up, Doug?
No.
I carried it.
So those will be replacing the barrels that have been out.
Really nice.
Yep.
They match the new light poles perfectly. So they will go with the streetscape. But basically why we are here tonight is before we put a flower pot out, the Women's Club always checks with the businesses, the property owners, to make sure it's okay. that we put a flower pot there, and we asked them to water theirs. We would like to put back in front of the township hall next summer, across the front, on the lawn, 4 or 5, depending. I'm not sure if you're gonna keep that concrete pad out front.
We talked
We
about
talked,
that.
taking it out as soon as we close on the
Are you gonna
deal.
take that out?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Probably 5 then, flower pots, again, out front, because your sprinkler systems, if we put them in the right places, the sprinkler will catch them, so you don't have to water them.
That's a good.
That's-
I was worried you were looking at me to water them, and I thought, oh heavens.
Bob and I were gonna all three of you.
You haven't been by my house.
Rotating duties.
You each get a week. But we would like to put them out front then again too, because that looks nice through town, if they're out front of the township hall.
I'll make that motion.
There you
Is
go,
that
is there
okay?
support?
Wait, what's
The motion is to, the women's club will place 5 barrels,
Flower pots.
I'm sorry.
Language is everything.
Pi R square is always confusing me too. They're round. The flower pots, 5 flower pots in front of the township. The motion, is there support?
Who made the motion?
Robert? I'll support that. I'll support that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay, RFP, RFP sewer plant EQ tank hole building. Bob, during our sewer meeting, it occurred to me it's probably harder to spend this COVID money than we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that Mead and Hunt had talked to you about, well, since it's $794,000, maybe you could give us this garage or pole barn that we need to store our equipment that was dropped out, as I understand it, from the last
Yeah, we
sewer
took it out of our,
project. And we definitely need snow equipment and lawnmower equipment. So I checked with Anna today because, as we all know, she's the chief of government affairs for that law firm that deals with wastewater. And she told me that those items do not qualify. And the threshold is if you went to the Michigan State Revolving Fund and they would approve it, it would be COVID acceptable. And if not, it wouldn't be COVID unacceptable. And she believes it's not anywhere close. It has to be a direct impact on the plant or the system. And we can check with others if you want, but she's pretty up on this stuff, so. I would recommend that we table this, and I sent this Mead and Hunt document to Performance Engineering, who recommended it in the first place, and maybe they could give us their comments and their suggestions, and we could present it at the next meeting.
okay. Okay, we'll table that then. Number 13, poverty application. We need to amend the language in the poverty application. It is, I just give you a small handout there. Bob, it's circled.
Yes,
It says, under no circumstances shall a poverty exemption be granted on a principal residence purchased within 2 years from appeal date. And we've been instructed by the state of Michigan to take that out of our language. So I need a motion to remove that from our poverty,
I'll make a motion.
make that motion. Is there support?
I'll support.
And Dawn supports. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I appreciate it. That was the only thing that our assessor, I think was the only thing that he got a black mark on was getting for that language that was in there. So it was up to us to fix it. Thank you. Assessing assistant pay. Currently, Terry receives $15 an hour, right? Yep. And there's been some questions about how much we pay her.
Can I speak to that?
Sure.
Bobby, you mentioned this some months ago, and I remember. And I think it's important because now that we have this new person on, I met her today, by the way, she's a wonderful person, the office, the new office assistant. But I believe from what you all have taught me that those duties aren't really equal. and Terry has a lot more responsibility. She's been here 3 years, and I've only worked with her for about 3 months on these lot joints. And she's incredible. She gets right back to you. She gets right back to the customers. I don't want to lose her, and I would just defer to Bobby because of your assessing experience, and you. I don't know what the proper rate of pay would be, maybe $1 more an hour, or you know, whatever you think is right. I'll support. I just think she ought to get a little bit. If we want to do better, we got to keep our good people.
I guess my concern, I don't think John is overpaid, but where it would come from. I think our assessing budget, I mean, there's not room in the assessing budget to give her more pay. She absolutely 100% deserves more pay for what she does for John.
But we could fix it.
Yup.
I just think she's worth the investment.
She's
She's a good person. She helps out a lot of us on different.
I know I complain about the budget a lot, but if we want to do better, we got to have good people
Yeah.
like her.
So I guess the question is, do we, just take it out of the general budget and move it into the assessing budget and give her a raise? Do we talk to John?
I did talk to John. I did not hear back.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Like I said, I don't feel John is overpaid. He is a very intelligent man, knows assessing well, and serves us in that capacity. Terry does a lot more of the hands-on, day-to-day.
Field work.
Well, she does more than field work. That's
Yeah,
what
she does.
that's what she gets paid to do.
Yeah.
She has taken on a lot more, and you know, should it come from John because they're duties that John technically should be doing? I don't know the answer to that. That's where I feel uncomfortable going, you know, you don't want to say, John, we want some of your pay, because like I said, he's not overpaid.
But couldn't that be
Terry's
a
underpaid,
conversation for another time? I like your idea of taking it out of the general fund.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
think
not
that's
gonna-
what,
It's not gonna be that much.
yeah, I think that's what we'd have to do, because like I said, I waver on that line because I know in assessing what I do in my townships and what people do for me, and Terry does a lot for John.
I see her out in the field.
Yeah,
She's good with the folks out in the field.
yeah, she's fantastic. There is, I mean, we could pay her $20 and it probably still wouldn't be enough
I
for
wanna go
how
that
valuable
far.
she is. We can't do that, so I think that
So
a
based
dollar
on
would
your-
be appreciated. I know she would absolutely appreciate that, and if we've got room in the budget.
What do you think, Dawn?
Well, I
You
just wanna
work
put it in perspective, so last week we stopped at Last week, my husband and I stopped at Wendy's to eat lunch in Petoskey. They had a sign on the door that said $17.25 an hour. They were hiring. We went around the corner and Subway was $16 an hour. We interviewed a gal that works at McDonald's. She told us she's making $14.71 an hour working at McDonald's. So if you want to put it in perspective for what she's doing, which is very technical, compared to McDonald's, Wendy's, or Subway.
Or even the office assistant. It's a higher level,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
I would think so.
I would think so.
I have some questions. First of all, you said she worked here for 3 years. Has she gotten a raise in between that?
She's worked
So
for-
she's still at the basic pay that she was hired at?
Good point.
Have we done an evaluation of her work product in the last 3 years before?
I believe she and John do.
Or did we
Done.
know? Whether she's our employer as well, right?
Right, but no, we have not.
Okay, and that's important that we start doing that kind of thing. Anyway, your point, Dawn, and that's taken, your point was well taken. The only thing is that when we do public service, wages, we can't, compare them to, private, because we don't make a profit. We don't have an ability to say, well, you know, I made so much money at Subway, the owner did, you know, last year, so I can afford to give my people a little extra pay. We need to make sure that we are comparing them public to public, cause private does private to private. They don't consider us an entity that they compare their pricing, you know, their hours to. And just an FYI, and this is not for or against the thing, but last week it was announced that Wayne County, which is a huge county as everybody knows, just increased their public service minimum wage to $15 an hour. We're already there. We're already there. So that's just an FYI to make sure that people are keeping it apples to apples, you know, public to public. And so I'm just saying, you know, that we need to keep the right perspective. We can't compare ourselves to, you know, Walmart or Subway or whatever, because it's a whole different situation. So that was my comment. And I'm not for or against anything, because we haven't really discussed what we're talking about, really. We're just throwing things out.
Can I ask you a question? Mike, what
Doug, what is your, somebody's got, you got a turn, Mike, so what are your seasonal parks guys get?
$15 an hour.
Seasonal,
No benefits, just straight $15 an hour.
so we're paying Terry the same thing, she actually certified, MCAT, certified assessing assistant.
Okay, what's that again?
She's
She
an
has the
MCAT.
first level.
She's at the first level, she's certified.
So is that a recurring requirement?
Yeah,
Every-
she has to be
She had-
licensed.
And
Yes,
does she
you're
use her own car, her own personal
Yes.
vehicle?
Yep.
She does.
And gas has gone through the roof? Well,
Yeah.
for me, that's $16.50 an hour.
Does she get per diem for gas?
No.
Oh, she should.
No.
It's not common, so that's not
I kind of agree with that
like
number,
a
that's what I was
percent
thinking.
I'll make a motion that we give her an immediate raise or effective the next pay period of $16.50 an hour and a handshake from the supervisor on our behalf, thanking her for
And
3
how-
years of faithful service.
Okay, how are we
Yeah, you can't.
working
So
this
we-
budget out?
Yeah, cause this is,
Cause this gets us
cause
into
how this
trouble.
works right now, Bob, is John's budget is X amount of dollars, I
Yeah, I
believe
know.
20,000. So perhaps, and she just works as many hours and
Correct.
kind of on her own time based on the weather
Mhm.
and how far that 20,000 goes. So do we want to
Do a budget
increase the 20,000 to something so that it equates to more, you know what I mean? Do we need to do something like that? Because
I gotta
16.50 an hour at this point is just going to give her less hours.
So she averages
You know what I
around
mean?
30?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
About 30
We have to increase that 20 grand too.
So in other words, you're saying that,
And
that
how
she's
many-
not really paid by the hour, she's paid by the position.
Nope, she's paid by the
Yeah.
hour, so
Yeah.
but she can
Times
only
that,
make
do you got an
20,000.
answer?
There's a
Yeah,
cap.
it's
Yeah.
$45
So you
for
wanna
every
raise
30
the
hours, but
cap.
she
We
sees
have to, otherwise she just
She doesn't
works
work
less
full.
hours. She just hit 20,000 faster, which may be nice.
That would be a
but-
little creative.
Hold on for a second here, hold on.
How many months does she work, please?
It depending on the weather, so she can start, you know, if it gets nice in April, she'll come back in April. Generally works through November
But we could do a partial
Okay, so-
budget adjustment and then adjust further,
for next year.
correct?
Yep,
So-
but I think we need to include that just so that we don't
Right, so
mess it up.
45 times 26, 39 weeks, that would be, I guess I got that wrong. Hang on, 40
She works how many hours a week?
times 39
About
weeks.
that.
It's $1,755.
Times .075,
Oh, yeah,
times .075.
All right with John.
times, what,
.075.
yeah, Social Security, all that. That's approximately $1,886, so if we say $2,000
Raise that, so yep, raise that line item to 1,000.
Motion,
from the general fund, so I can amend my
Say,
motion.
you need to say the
listen
motion.
out here.
Okay, so it's to raise it to 1650, right?
Effective the next pay period.
Equals two, and then transfer, and then we need, to transfer
2,000.
2,000
Yes, assistant assessment
Coming from
line
the
item.
general fund?
from
Yes.
general fund to
Bob, can you repeat your motion to make sure it gets?
I'm
She's
doing
gonna read
that
it back.
right now.
Okay.
Or should that come out of our little contingency?
I was gonna say, why don't we let Dawn figure out and do the
Yeah,
budget adjustment
Yeah,
next
we'll let her
month?
do it.
'Cause,
I don't wanna lose this though, this is,
no, we just do the budget adjustment next month. We're just making the motion to make it happen, and you figure out where cause you'll have to make a motion to do the official budget adjustment. And you can do that next month,
okay.
and decide which fund,
No,
cause
but
you're
I
gonna
think
have to
that
give
kinda
fund
gets-
numbers too, which you don't have right now.
So the motion that we're dealing with,
Okay, well then why don't we just take it out of the admin pay?
No, that's not a slush fund, no.
I think you'll find a spot. You just need to look up the GL numbers and give them to us, and you don't have that right now.
is there a motion to raise your pay to $16.50 an hour, or is that
Yes.
something emotional?
Bob's, I think.
I already
made
made
the
that
motion.
motion, but I want to amend it to give Dawn the authority to, what, Bobby?
No, I think,
No,
you-
I have to
can
come
I,
back
do you
to
want me
board.
to say
This
what
is
I
where we
think?
get in trouble.
Yeah.
That to raise Terry's pay, the assistant assessor pay to $16.50 an hour, along with that raise the budget line item for assistant assessor by $2,000 for the remainder of this fiscal year.
So I'll withdraw my motion and let you make that motion.
Okay, $16.50 an hour and transfer,
Not to, and
make a
amend,
budget, amend the budget.
amend the budget, assistant assessor line item to an additional $2,000 from what it is right now.
And then when do we determine
Then
where
you'll make a
that's
budget
coming from?
adjustment next month, so we can figure that out.
Okay,
So who made that motion, you or Bob?
so now Bobby.
He
I withdrew
rescinded
mine.
his. He
I withdrew
withdrew
mine.
his.
Alright, so
Okay.
Bobby
Okay.
made the
She's
motion.
smarter than me.
$16.50, so $16.50 an hour and then a budget adjustment for $2,000,
Amend the line item,
amend the budget.
line item assistant assessor.
I think Bobby made that motion, is there support?
I'll-
Bob supports it.
Bob.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you, and she'll thank you. Revisiting Sue Fisher's duties pay. We are dealing with these pay issues. She currently makes $25 an hour. And we want to do a budget adjustment,
$25 or
$25
$20?
an hour?
$25 an hour.
No, it's 25.
What?
It's always
Like,
been
who made
25.
that motion?
That was in December.
She's still doing
I think I saw some, oh, I remember. I got a thing from her. It was 20 and then we went to 25.
25.
Okay, got it. Understood.
Okay, so this is kind of where. You have the dead one.
It works fine.
Yeah, for about 2 seconds and then it'll shut off.
Gotta replace the batteries.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where we kind of get a little sideways with things and why I'm a little antsy about this. So Sue, back in December, in the minutes, as we were kind of scrubbing through some of this stuff, Sue was hired to train Dolly on the BSNA software, assist with the audit report, annual reports, and they were supposed to review the contract in 2 months. It was supposed to be a contract position. It wasn't. There was never a budget adjustment. Dolly took the pay out of her admin budget line, which did not cause a problem with the budget because they never went over the budget. But when I came on board in June, we again said that Sue was gonna train, work through the audit stuff, et cetera, and we just kept paying her out of the admin, even though I did not take on the admin. So nobody's doing the admin job, which is a different problem in itself. So, I actually had a long conversation with Rob Huth, day before yesterday, was it yesterday? Yesterday, to try to figure out how to fix this. And he came up with, we have a couple of options. We can either transfer her wages to the deputy clerk, which would be more, right now it's more than what's in the deputy clerk line. Or we can just leave it and authorize to continue to pay her through the end of the audit, which should be, I'm thinking.
End of the year.
Yeah, it has to be in by the end of the year. We've already started the audit process, and Richard thinks he can have it completed by the end of November. So we'll see how that works. The issue is she can't be a contractor because there are rules for consulting contracts that you have to follow, and she doesn't meet any of that requirement. We're telling her she has to be in here specific times with me. She can't work from home. She has to be in this building. She has specific duties that she has to do. So it involves employer-employee relations. So that can't happen. So because of that, and we need her to get through the end of the audit, we need to discuss where that money's gonna come from. What can't happen is it can't deplete my clerk, and I have, a deputy clerk, and I have no funds left. She's been working for the board, not just me. The audit, she's taking care of some sewer stuff, she's been doing training, she actually has done payroll, which did come out of my deputy clerk, because that's what, when she subs for me, that's when she would get paid deputy clerk. She's been doing the cemetery, all of the non-statutory things that we need help with, she's been handling.
But to clarify, by law, the board has no say how you use your deputy clerk for
No.
statutory duties. I just
I
want to
can,
make that clear.
I can
that you have
assign her,
total
I can
autonomy
assign her duties,
as long as it's within the budget line.
as long as it's
Right.
within the
I just
budget
want to
line.
make that clear to the public.
So if we transfer the money from, I don't care if it comes from admin or where it comes from, if we transfer, we need to transfer $6,200 to cover her past wages that she's gonna deplete out of my deputy clerk, plus an additional, it's about $5,000 plus an additional $1,200 to get us through to mid-December when we get the audit completed.
It seems like that's the cleanest way to do it, is to take it from the admin, put it in deputy clerk.
We can either do that, or we can make a motion just to continue to pay it out of the admin. He said either one was acceptable.
I want to make a comment. Comments.
Sure, certainly.
Look, this doesn't have anything to do with, let me turn this on.
Yeah, because it dies.
This doesn't have anything to do with Don Webb or Dolly Rodriguez. And before I make these comments, I want to make it clear, this has nothing to do with Sue Fisher. In fact, she's dedicated a very large portion of her life serving this township. And she has taught me more than you will ever know. And God bless her, she's still trying to help us. And privately, I call her Saint Sue. But I'm very concerned. This is about process, this is about transparency, this is about fiscal responsibility. I'm very concerned that I was led to believe that she was gonna be a vendor. And I agree with you that she shouldn't have been a vendor, but it never came before the board. And after 60 days, you're right. After 60 days, she kept on going. And I didn't have any knowledge of that. I don't remember board and approval going past 60 days. In fact, it went on for another 4 months.
Well,
Take mine.
Yeah, so let me finish. So, I understand that she's the deputy clerk, and deputy clerk role, that's a different budget line. But now we jump to June, when we got a new clerk, right? We got a new clerk, and there's nothing in the minutes whatsoever, the official record, about authorizing Sue to help you. So, I do recall, though, we talked about it, and we were gonna do it for 60 days, but here we are 5 months later with another problem and no board authorization. So I'm telling you, based on my 40 years of government experience, both of these cases resulted in what I know as an unauthorized commitment. And that can be a lot of potential problems, including personal liability. I don't even wanna go there. So, I'll tell you this, we all make mistakes. I make them every day, except for when I married Nancy. We have to do better. We need to fix this. The people expect nothing less, but we gotta get a handle on our processes. And I take the blame as well. You can blame it all on me, I don't care, as long as we fix it. We just can't keep doing these kind of things, and I applaud you for trying to fix it.
So it's, the question is it put it in deputy clerk or just keep doing it out of admin?
I think the question's keep doing it or
Now, move the money into,
Doing it or move it into deputy
move it into deputy clerk. We either do it, continue doing it with admin pay, or we move it into deputy clerk and start taking it out of deputy clerk.
Well, even before we decide that, what's the end game? I wanna see an end game. When is it over?
Well, we said that.
It's over with when we
Done
finish
with
the
the audit.
audit.
No, I want a hard date.
Well,
Or you come back to the board and say, I need an
Okay,
extension.
so December 15th, and if we need to extend it, I don't think we're going to need to extend it. I think it'll be done before December 15th, but let's give us a couple of weeks.
Sure.
Because there's gonna be a
There's
lot of
6
back
weeks.
and forth.
Oh, how about December 31st? Just in case. As long as there's an end date, end game, I'm a happy guy.
Well, I agree with you, Bob, on the December 31st date, because then we could, if it needs to be extended, we could do it in our January meeting, because it's right after that. I'm disappointed that Bob and I were the only ones who didn't know that we had a secret employee running around.
okay, excuse me.
Wait,
stop for a
wait,
second, stop for a
wait.
second, wait a minute.
No one told us that she was still working as a consultant. Whenever we saw her in the office, I just thought it was under her deputy or under, since she's involved in other committees and stuff. And I'm disappointed that we didn't know. And so I hope that in the future, we're more transparent about these things.
May I now speak?
Go ahead, Bobby.
Bob, I hope that you will stand up at this point and say something because I know you talk to her. I know you ask her questions. I know you come into the office and see her, and we all know what she's been doing.
Oh, yeah, I don't dispute
So
that
when
at
you
all.
say you and Bob didn't know, I think speaking for Bob is probably a bad idea there.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
No,
And transparency would have been a good thing.
Well, I can speak for myself. I thought, frankly, that she was doing deputy clerk stuff, because, I don't go, oh, how you working today, under what budget line? I'm just happy to see her. And she's so busy, she only gives me a smile for a half a second, and then she's right back to the grind, so, I didn't know how she was getting paid. And yeah, I was in the dark. But I guess that's my fault. I haven't asked the
Well,
right
we all
question.
knew she was getting paid.
Exactly.
I guess
I
I just
didn't
think that's a little bit of a stretch of a.
It's the truth. I didn't know that she wasn't a contracted help. No one came back to the board and said, oh, we have to hire her. And it was supposed to be reviewed in 60 days. And I understand, that's the same thing we had to do with the assessor. I understand that. But it was never reviewed. It never came back. My assumption is that it was dropped after the 60 days and wasn't revisited, but she was Dolly's deputy clerk too. So I just thought she was in the office for those kind of things. I didn't question, because I'm not in the office that often, so when I see her flip through, I don't know what she's doing, I don't ask, she's just in the office that day. But she has other duties, works for the DDA, I think she does for the library, different things like that. No, she's not for the library anymore,
No,
but,
or DDA,
I thought she was on.
not the admin, she's the treasurer now. So
Right,
she's
that's
not
what I
the
mean, but she has other duties that would qualify for her being in the office, so I didn't question. And I did not realize that she was switched from a contractor to from a vendor to an employee. But that was the explanation when it came through. So I'm just saying, communication would have been a wonderful thing, and we could have been all on the same page and not be where we're at today with, suspicions and wondering what the heck's going on when you see money coming out of the admin. That thing is messed up. Hold on. When you see money coming out of the administrative assistant pay, and there is not an administrative assistant hired, it makes you wonder where the heck the money is going. And it makes very, maybe suspicious is a little bit harsh, but that's what it was. And I'm gonna lay it on the line right now. And I was a little upset when I noticed, because there was no line item for anything for this particular consulting job in the budget, and there could have been. And it would have been up for discussion at the budget time. And so there was things that could have happened that could have prevented where we're at today. That's all I got to say.
I have something to say still. So this is why I was trying to nail everybody down on this budget issue for transferring money, for, the increase that we just gave Terry. Because that, from what I can see, is what actually happened. We said she's gonna be a consultant, but there was never any budget line established for that.
Exactly.
So as far as the 2 months goes, you didn't need to revisit it in 2 months, she left, she went to Florida. So she was gone for a couple of months. So when she came back that's when everybody figured out Dolly was struggling with a lot of the stuff that she really didn't know what she was doing, and she started helping then. Some of that money came out of the deputy clerk's budget, and some of it came out of the admin budget. So all I'm asking for right now is, we still have a problem. We still have a budget line problem, because money's coming out of someplace that we didn't designate, and I wanna fix it.
Good.
We didn't do anything illegal. I talked to the lawyer at length about everything, laid it all out for him. Told him everything that we did, gave him the minutes, gave him the, talked about contractor versus an employee, and why we couldn't do that, laid out the budget issue, and that was his two options that he gave us. So I wanna fix it. Anything that happened prior to me coming on board that's under the bridge, we're done.
I think we said that.
We can't, I
Yeah,
don't
we're
wanna
not blaming,
revisit
I'm
it.
not blaming any,
Well, I can tell you, Janet and Bob, if, and I'm not trying to be the martyr, I can tell you that I can remember when we proposed Sue come on board and help, I called her a consultant. And that was my mistake, because I did not know that was, I was, even if I just did it in passing or,
But it was still the right thing to do.
but, right, we needed her. And
No, it was the right thing to do not to make her a contractor.
Yeah, right, but again, if that's the verbiage and if that's the way it was recorded in the minutes, that was a mistake.
That's okay.
Okay, but I
I
think
make
I'm on.
mistakes every day,
I-
more than once a day,
So
probably.
do I.
Okay,
Ask
let's
Nancy.
get it fixed.
So, so I'm asking your opinion, how do you want this to go? What do you guys think? Should we leave it in the admin until the end of December, or should we do the transfer? The cleanest way is leave it in the admin. If you prefer to do the transfer, then we do the transfer, as long as we make it clear that we're gonna transfer $6,200 from admin and put it in the deputy clerk budget.
What say ye, treasurer? What do you think?
I don't.
Just admin, I propose we just keep going in the admin, because she has been doing, that's where it's at.
For the board.
And Rob said that's either way is acceptable.
Yeah.
So let's just
I
keep
know.
it like it, we don't have to make a budget adjustment, let's just keep it on the admin. I would move that do you wanna make that motion? Is there anybody who wants to make that motion?
I'll make it.
Okay, I would move to continue with Sue's services as an employee. I'm sorry,
Make it.
go ahead, you make the motion.
Okay, I'm making the motion that we
Sorry.
continue to pull Sue's salary out of the admin pay through the end of December, so we can get through audit.
Okay, is there support? There's support. I'll support it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes.
aye,
Okay, it's,
Aye.
okay.
busy writing.
Bob, yes or no on that, just you.
He was a yes.
So it's
Yes.
4-1?
No, it's
5-0.
5-0.
You voted yes, okay.
Can I just say one more thing about, or should we?
Little board comments, because this is, a medication is kicking in its third. Essential worker hazard pay, Bob and I briefly discussed this. It's gonna be hard to spend it. We talked about hazard pay because it's, we have to do some more research about it, about who actually qualifies for it.
So I put a copy of an email from, I had Bob get a hold of,
NEMCOG,
Sarah McCollum.
and their consultant got back to us.
Yeah, and they got back to us, for the, what we can spend, the money on. And you all have a copy of it, we can read through it. I think we should look at this, it's, based on what she said is that, even though the rules, the final rules aren't the final rules, the
It's
intent is
interim,
not to
yeah.
restrict them, the intent is to expand them.
Okay.
Can I tell you what I found out?
Go ahead.
I made, Dawn, I made 2 additional phone calls. One thing that you pointed out, the lower the pay,
Yep.
the more they should get. So, for example, if Kathy downstairs in the police department doesn't get as much as a police officer, then she should be bumped up. And then I clicked on the link and I went to page 46 that talked about what qualifies and what doesn't. And on page 46, it appears to me that Betsy would have qualified because she was right with the front of the public. I don't believe Tina would qualify. Terry. And I don't believe Parks would qualify because you have to be in constant contact with the public. And when they were referring to maintenance supervisors, it's like janitors and people that clean a building or a hospital that can expose themselves to the virus. And I mean, we can table it if you want.
I would like to table it.
And look at it.
Yeah.
But I would definitely support the police department and Kathy, because the way I read the guidance, that's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Did you have any ideas on how much?
No, I didn't.
No.
Okay.
I would like to get through this agenda.
Well,
Discussion, thank you, discussion of the office assistants' hours and pay. And we talked about the last special meeting that we put it on this agenda. I don't know that we have enough information, because I think it's something we have to watch over the next 30, 60, 90 days, how it plays out, what she's learned. Is there anybody had thoughts about the,
Well, I think the first thing that we need to do is Janet pointed out at the last meeting that we have an employee handbook that specifies the part-time can't exceed 20 hours, so we need to fix that. And I think that's something that we could probably do offline and then send it for approval.
Do it
at this
Saturday.
meeting. Or we could Saturday. It's just a matter, to me, I think. we
Yeah,
should
just a
strike that.
policy, and things can be just changed
We
with
just
a vote.
change that.
okay, so if Sue is leaving December 31st, and we have to make a decision whether she continues or not, why don't we table this until the first meeting in January?
sounds good,
Would that be acceptable?
perfect.
That will give us 60 days to evaluate the job performance
Almost.
and how things are working as well.
Okay, that will be tabled. Workshop, 9 AM, everybody okay with 9 AM Saturday? Discuss it in the meantime.
As long as we get out of there by the time the football game's on.
Which game's that?
All of them. It doesn't matter if it's
Purdue, it's Michigan State Purdue?
3:30.
Yeah, we'll be out by then.
I ain't saying that.
Michigan's 7:30. You guys don't care, but
No,
Wisconsin is.
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
I don't think we need a motion, okay. Citizen comments? Citizen comments? Yes, sir? Yeah, oh, yes, please, Pat.
You gotta be a star of your own movie.
This is the ultimate selfie.
I'd like to make a comment, but really it's a clarification concerning the police department patrolling the parks. They already do that on a constant basis. I'm up there often, I see the officers patrolling at a very slow speed, and they do it with the windows down. When the kids wave at them, they wave back, they acknowledge them. And I had the feeling that a couple people thought that at this time, the police are not patrolling the park, Cooperation Park. They do it, and they do it in a very courteous manner. And I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, yes, thanks. Public comment. Go ahead, Beth.
I just had no surgery.
Oh, we can go from your seat then, go ahead.
Thank you. Last meeting I came to, I suggested to the board, a few of you, to go to the high school to see if you could get a student to come help you with your computer input. Has any of that been done, or no?
No, I think we've talked back about the front desk person. Bob at one of the special meetings was talking about handing the web over at some point, and that it may be a task for the front desk, so.
I'm not just talking the front desk, I'm sure there's something that they could be earning credits for that could help this board, cause I get frustrated coming to these meetings, cause I just feel you guys are always just kind of nitpicking at each other. And it's hard to sit out here and watch that when you should be working together. And one other question, why are the chambers, you don't wanna join it? I don't understand why you don't wanna join the chamber. Are you guys supposed to work together? What was that $100 for?
There's a membership in the chamber.
Yeah, why wouldn't you wanna be a member of the chamber?
I don't know.
To support.
Go ahead.
I think, and I was gonna say, I didn't see Will back there, during board comment, so I'll just give you my board comment now. I believe we have never been an official member of the chamber. We've always kind of considered the chamber and the township as entities that are side by side. The township does not charge the chamber when they do events that make money to support the chamber. They use our parks at a discounted rate.
But
You
they
know, our
still
park
pay.
staff helps. So it's always just kind of been that give and take where we, you know, that's kind of been the membership balance. And then that would be my thoughts of why we wouldn't pay a
Okay,
membership
just
fee. But
my perspective, it sounds like, no, we're not being part of the chambers, and the chambers, no, we're not part, I mean, you called down there, that's part, you know, I called about the Christmas, Thanksgiving thing, haven't heard nothing about that. Day after Thanksgiving parade, I can't think of what you guys call it.
Indian River Christmas.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
No.
I called up here, they said it's the chambers. Called down to the chambers, chamber says it's up here. It's bang, bang, bang.
So never,
I don't
Well, I
think
can
it feels that way.
clarify that a little bit. The chamber does the craft show, and
Yeah, I
the
know you do the
DDA,
craft
and
show.
actually there's a separate Christmas and Indian River committee that handles Christmas and Indian River. That is not part of the chamber.
Or
There's
the,
a
or
committee.
the township,
There's a
yeah.
Or the
committee, the Indian River Christmas
Where's
Committee.
the committee?
It's a whole separate entity that does Christmas and
There's
Indian
no
River.
committee.
No.
It fell through. I mean,
And I
20
know,
some years
actually,
I've been coming
honestly,
up
the
here
shared
just for
meeting
that,
right now, we're-
and it's
Okay.
gone. I think
Thank you,
that's
Beth.
sad.
Okay.
You like to do the
Public comment,
I
Will?
was on
Go
the
ahead.
committee, nobody called me back. I did it last year. It's a little late now.
Go ahead.
See
No,
you, Mike.
and trust me, I've inherited a whole bunch of stuff taking this job that was news to me when I took it. And continue to find out things on a daily basis that are not. Historically, the way my understanding of looking through all the documents that I've been able to find in my office is that the craft show has always been done by the chamber. And that's something that we're doing, and trust me, I'm immersed in crafters right now deeper than I ever hoped to be in my life. Then after that, there's a separate committee that does Christmas in Indian River. And in fact, last year Dawn was the chair of that. Dawn Bodner was. This year she is not able to do those things. So Matt Whitener and I have kind of taken up the mantle, so to speak, of doing it. I told Matt I'll do the logistics stuff, meaning that I'm gonna pull the permit and unlock my office, and that's it. Matt's gonna set up the parade and do all all the other stuff that is involved with Christmas in Indian River. So if you have a question about that, Matt Whitener at Northland Brewing would be the person to talk to about that, because he's the one who's kind of picked up that mantle to do it. And my talking to him about it is he wants to really kind of go back to, since he grew up here and he's got some very fond memories of it, he wants to kind of return it to its prior glory, we'll say. So it should be, tomorrow I'll go down to the road commission and pull the permit for the parade and all that stuff and do the logistics stuff that I thought we would do. And that's kind of where we're at on that. As far as, the actual township being part of the chamber, the DDA is a member, the library is a member. So several departments within the township are members of the chamber. And, me and Mike have pretty much had a very open line of communication since I've gotten here, and I've tried to work with the township as much as possible. For me, it's actually better that the DDA is the member of the chamber, because they represent the downtown businesses, and that's more in line with the mission of the chamber, which is to promote a positive business community and do things that are in the best interest of the businesses in the community, which is much more in line of a partnership with the DDA and the chamber, which is what I've also found in a lot of the other communities and the chambers that I worked with prior to coming on board here. In fact, we're already working together on a couple projects that we'll be announcing soon. So that's kind of where all that sits. So, pardon the pun, but me and the township are cool.
Public comment?
Getting tired of sitting, right?
Yeah.
Jay Reedsma, for those of you that don't know me, but first of all, I'm often criticized for coming up here and bringing up bad news, but I want to thank Mike and the rest of the board for all the positive things they've done for Indian River over I've been up here since, 30 years. I've lived here as a resident for the last 5 years, and I have seen tremendous changes occur in Indian River over that period of time. I don't have time here to go through all those changes, but there's been a lot of positive work done. I did go to all the different, I shouldn't say all of them, but the DDA and the Parks Commission and special meetings, other meetings here. I can tell you the people that are involved in those meetings take their jobs very seriously, whether it's volunteer or paid, and they're doing a terrific job at trying to move the ball forward into this, move the ball forward in the areas they have responsibility for. I'm very proud of what they've done and what they continue to do. That's not why I'm up here. I am up here because it's all about transparency and internal financial controls. I'm here to recommend to this board, after what you just saw here, and what this board just manifest in terms of what I'm talking about. So if anybody's having trouble trying to understand what my words are versus what actions I'm looking at, it's about our budgeting process. And you saw it play out here. Mike is responsible for the budget statutorily, but he's assigned it to Don. He said he did at another meeting.
So he's been the clerk.
Yeah, the clerk, okay. I'd like to see a documented budget process and procedures based on some other township, so you don't have to do all the work. You take Tuscarora Township and you insert it where it says X Township, and you modify it to basically fit what we do in this community. So a documented process. I'm looking for Mike to, are you admitting or not that you are in charge of the budget process?
I'm in charge of, I'm the legal agent, I am in charge unless designated to someone else. And again, the board has to designate it.
You can't designate it to somebody else without a resolution.
The board should do that.
Yeah, so there needs to be a resolution then.
Yeah. I don't sit down and work out the budget.
Right. I know you don't, but you should. That's your statutory responsibility. No, it's your job to see that a budget gets worked out.
Right.
One did not get worked out this year, Mike.
You're right. Not to our satisfaction.
Exactly.
We need to work on it, but it's
It'd be
there and
nice.
it is working.
It's working very badly. It'd be nice to have to that point, it'd be nice to have a forensic audit done just to figure out where all the financial deficiencies are, wrap that into the budget and make the necessary changes. And then it will also be nice because, I I see Sue Fisher showing up, in the DDA, has something to do with cemeteries, she's a deputy clerk, she's over here, she's over there. Can we get these names on a roster, on an org chart that you have, and get your statutory responsibilities lined up on there as well? You don't have to spell them out, you just have to cross-reference MCL, dot, dot, dot. And have people that are being paid for by this township as assistants or otherwise on that org chart. That would be very nice, it might help us figure out who to talk to when we need to. But as far as budgeting a budget, it's gotta have a timetable, it's gotta have a schedule built in, it's gotta have deliverables, it's gotta have a change management process, and you guys just proved that point here today. You shouldn't have, the board should vote on a change, but they shouldn't be writing down what the change is and trying to figure out how to do it and what account it goes into, and is that a legal, or financially acceptable way of putting it in that account? That should all be done offline, you bring it into a meeting, and you vote on it. And you don't even change the dollars, you just move dollars around in the budget. You put line items on it. And it should be a work group to do this budget. It should be composed of board members, employees, residents, anybody who wants to volunteer to sit down and map this thing out and get it done. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you.
How do we go, what I'm saying here though, how do we take action on it?
I don't wanna get into Q&A right now, but I can, at our workshop, we can do something like, you'll have to excuse me, I'm starting to dehydrate. We can do a workshop when it comes time for our budget.
It's too late.
No.
We ought to start next month.
I don't have an answer for you right now, but we'll work on it.
Okay, but how do I get an answer? Just out of curiosity.
I've been talking offline with Don about the budget process, and I've shown some other folks the State of Michigan Department of Treasury Uniform Budget Manual, and that's like a catch-all, and I think Bobby told me, well, yeah, that's what the big townships do, the charter townships and the cities. And at first I was being stubborn about it, but now I agree with him. I just think we need to spread it out a little bit. For example, that thing, the document says that the supervisor would propose the budget in April. I don't think we can do that here. But I think we can spread it out. And I think we can give more time for the public to consider what we're doing, and more time for us to consider what the public says at the public hearing. But I don't know what that is yet, because we're a board of 5, not a board of 2.
Will somebody get back with me on the board as to what we're gonna do?
Well, I think that has to be on the agenda, and we have to discuss it.
I'd just like to get an answer. Either we're not gonna do anything, or we're gonna do
Well,
something
I don't
else.
think not doing anything is an option. That's not an option.
Well, then we need to get started, right?
Like I said, I've been working on that with Don, and at the appropriate time, we will make some proposals, and other board members may have other proposals. But I think your question is, we can't go through, I think your statement is, we can't go through what we went through last time. We all agree. We all agree, but that was a very difficult transition, I would call it. Chaotic, at best, not caused by people at this table. So how we fix it is we learn from what we've done, and we will address it. I assure you, I will address it, and I know my colleagues will address it, because I've talked to them all about your concerns offline.
It goes deeper than just how you put a budget together, how you prepare it.
I've got all that.
It goes into how you report on it,
Exactly.
how you have financial controls in place that avoid deficiencies.
Management controls.
How you set yourself up for the auditors that come at the end of the year.
Well, I think that's why
So-
we're asking Sue Fisher to help us, because she has experience in that area. But we will get there. It may not be fast enough to your liking, but we'll get there. I was elected to do that. So you have my pledge that I will do everything I can to make that process better. I've read that manual 4 or 5 times. I've called the MTA on it
Yeah.
3 times.
But we do not have a budgeted process or procedures right now.
I understand that. We do
Correct?
not.
We do not.
We need to.
Well, we do.
Thank you.
I made my point.
Okay,
Thank you.
public comment, please.
I actually wasn't gonna make one this time, but, excuse me? Issues?
Have at it.
So,
Bye.
I'd like to echo what Jay said on the satellite boards, as far as their functionality, their results, their civility, and their decorum, that they are, and I've attended almost every one, at least once or twice. And the difference between the attitude of the people on those boards and the attitude that we see in this room is marked, drastic. And I don't know why that is, but those boards seem to get results, and the results are not just piers or sidewalks or downtown streetscapes. They're in the things that you guys do as a board on a daily, monthly, yearly basis. That's where we've been harping for the past 5 years or more. Again, and it's gonna be every month until we start seeing some results. Conflict of interest policy, why is it not on the agenda? Progress towards quarterly financials, progress towards automating the website postings. You know, it's a dysfunctional board. You guys are 3-2, and it seems like that's how it's going to be going forward. This evening, you proved that there was an error in the minutes, yet 3 of you voted against the amendment to correct the obvious error. How do you do that? How do you justify that? So it tells me that you're okay with the error moving forward in the records. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, we've been harping about the segregation of duties, about how more eyes means more ability to detect problems, how combined duties, especially between elected and hourly officials, and you said it yourselves, you know, and this is not a knock on Sue. I echo Bob's comments. I think Sue is a great resource here. But we don't know when she's working hourly, when she's working for the clerk, and for this to get by you guys since February. I mean, it's over and over again. It's the resolution to pay bills, and there being a recurring, I guess, what's the word? An amendment that you couldn't find, generates a special meeting, you pass a new resolution. There's no process, there's no procedures manuals. It's mediocrity, and we deserve better. And these are not personal attacks. So I sent an email regarding the office administrator's position. I specifically asked that my correspondence be read into the record, that it be reflected as correspondence. Didn't happen. If asking questions makes me rude, if demanding accountability makes me rude, if demanding transparency makes me rude, then I'm rude. Why aren't more of you? It's not about the delivery, it's about the substance. If you want to attack me on substance, not on my delivery. Grow a thicker skin, grow up, get over it.
Public comment? Go ahead, Jan.
In 2017, we spent a fabulous amount of money to get accounting software that would help the clerk and the treasurer do their job, with the promise that the public would get better transparency. I have been very specific about asking for something as simple as a check run being posted to the website on a regular basis, without success. Had that happened, 2 things would have been discovered long ago: missing pension payments and payments to Sue that were unauthorized. We would have seen that the GL that it was being pulled from didn't have a budget for that item. We didn't have an office administrator. These are things that I'm not saying this to pick on you. I'm saying this stonewalling for 5 years to get even a minimum of financial transparency seems like we didn't get a very good return on our investment in that accounting software. And I'm sorry to say that. I wish we could have better. Thanks, guys.
Public comment? Okay, public comment is closed. Board comment?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Bob.
I just wanted the community to know that Mike and I have learned that there's going to be a formal groundbreaking ceremony for the VA clinic in about 4 weeks' time. I'm sure you'll be hearing more, and I hope you'll be there to support this great effort in our veterans. And I also want to thank the staff for not issuing me a paper check anymore. Here we are in the 21st century. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Janet, go ahead.
Yep. There's been a lot of angst on this board the last few months. I would kind of put up to growing pains, lack of transparency, communication between us, which we have to work on. And that's something we all have to work on, including myself. We need to work together, but we don't always agree. And when we don't agree, you're gonna see it, because this is where it happens. This is the board. This is where we make decisions. This is where we hash it out. This is the only time we get together. We can't do this behind closed doors, or at least we're not supposed to, because it's unlawful. We have to do the township's business here. So you're gonna sometimes see great, patting each other on the back, and then other times you're gonna see us going at it. And that's just the way government works. If you watch Congress in Washington DC, they go at it every day. We don't. But there are angst sometimes. There are difficulties sometimes. And we have to work through them. And to tell you the truth, today, you might think that this was really a mess up here today. But it went a whole lot better than what I was prepared for. So I'm saying, together, with communication, with trust and respect, we can get through it. It may be ugly at times, it may be pretty at times. We may take criticism, we may not take criticism. But I'll tell you something, I do appreciate every single person's public comments, because I don't worry about, like Ron, you said, the delivery. I think about what is being said and what can we do to improve what they're saying. And that's where we're supposed to be at. We have to listen to what they're telling us, because we work for you, okay? And this is where we're at. And like I said, sometimes it's ugly, sometimes it's pretty, and sometimes it's in between. Today was an in-between day, because we got accomplished. It was a little rough, but we got it accomplished. So I appreciate the board. Thank you very much for putting up with attitude and hard questions. And I sometimes get hyperbolic, but that's just me. I'm sorry, but that's me. So, like I said, you see the ugliness, you see the prettiness, but we did get through it, and we're trying our best to make a positive influence. Sometimes it's negative, but we'll get there. It's hard, but we'll get there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Board comment?
Me,
Go ahead.
a couple things. The audit, Janice, I did talk to Richard, he's our auditor. What's the name of the company? Gaybridge. He will be here, likely the 28th and the 29th. Right now, we're just trading files. And he said you are more than welcome to come in and ask questions, or discuss. He's always open to any new ideas. Is she here?
Back here.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's
So, just keep in touch. I'll try to, as soon as he nails down the day, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
The other thing is, the budget discussion, I just wanted to say, Jay, I know it was messy this time, because I came in at the last minute, I mean, really 4 days. There is a process. If you sit down and go through what the MTA lays out for budget process, I plan on following it. It's not gonna be April, it's likely gonna be 6 to 8 weeks prior to, the budget day. And we'll do workshops, the public will be involved, much like we did the last time. He's more than welcome to, well, he'll be moderating any workshops. He will be in charge of setting them up and moderating them. He's involved in it, he was the last time. And we'll go from there. We'll get it done. The other thing is that broadband. Some of you, I know some of you live in the Chippewa Beach area, and you're one of them. They went live Monday. So my address shows up for Charter Spectrum. Yours doesn't yet?
Dawn,
Yeah.
even though it shows up, they aren't ready for us yet.
Yeah, I know, some of them they are, so anybody on Chippewa Beach, they are, yeah. I didn't go all the way through the setup, but my address does show up, so I don't know where yours
They
at.
haven't even contacted us.
Yeah, I got a
It would be nice
text.
to have a contact so we can contact.
Yeah, I got a text, I've been working with the, Matt Claycomb, he's the, head of the, construction. And, he said as soon as he turns it over, which he didn't have a time.
DTE came through with the gas, they had a professional managing the whole thing.
Yeah.
The person was outstanding, you could talk to them, ask them questions, they would give you a time schedule.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't
These
it
guys
was
sub a
not
lot of
specific
stuff out.
date, the schedule,
Yeah,
and this is ridiculous, so.
well,
It's not your fault, not your fault.
No, and I'm not gonna, I feel lucky we got it, period, so.
How many homes was that again?
It was almost 300, so it was a big project. And it was they're just as anxious to get it rolling as we are. It was a $760,000 investment that they made in this project. So,
So you'd think they would, with that kind of money involved, they would do their best to communicate.
yeah. Well, they're.
That perfect world.
I'm asking you to carry the message if you're discussing possible.
No, and this is outside of the township. I started working on this long ago, so it's been a year. It has been a year.
Thank you, Don. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.